Hey, hello. It is 3 o'clock on January 11th, 2020. Welcome to the weather update. It's very warm out there, 59 degrees at Farmingdale. Actually, this was an earlier observation. Let me refresh this. Look at that wind, though. Southwest to 25, gusting to 35. Might be a little higher than that now. Let's see. No, it actually has cooled off a little bit. 57, southwest wind to 23, gusting to 37. Yeah, very windy out there. Very windy out there. It's quite windy out there. And there's a wind advisory in effect for later. If I go back to this, you will see here. Well, let's see. Yeah, they got the wind advisory in effect for our whole area. Yes, you'll see it's 68 in Central Park, so much warmer in the city. Islip is 56. Southwest wind to 20, gusting to 32. So I wonder if they broke the record at Islip. They may not have broken the record because of the sea breeze. It kept Long Island cool. However, like I said, in the city, it's 68 degrees. And if we go and we look at the city, you'll see it's 68 degrees right there, right now. 68 degrees, dew point 50. It's muggy out there. Not as windy either, by the way. Not as windy. So they might have broken the record at Central Park. We'll have to see later when the climate report comes out. The daily climate report comes out. But of course, it's pretty hot in New Jersey. Let's see what it is there. It's 68 in Mount Holly. Let's see. Toms River 65. Let's see. Did Toms River make it to 70? May not have made it to 70. May not have made it to 70. So 65 at Toms River. They may not have made it to 70, but it's still a lot warmer there than it is here. And you can clearly see that when we look at the observations on the Wonder Map here. You can see that it's much warmer in New Jersey, except right along the water. Well into the mid 60s there, and upper 60s. Whereas Long Island, we're getting a sea breeze, and it's keeping us cooler, and we're in the upper 50s. So yeah, sea breezes in January. That's the kind of pattern we are in, unfortunately. And if we look at the dew points, you will see here it's muggy out there. It's muggy. It's humid. Shouldn't be like this in January at all whatsoever. So let's turn our attention to the larger pattern here, and you see this huge ridge here. This is the Ventus sky site. This huge Bermuda high that's stretching all the way into. Look at this warmth that's going all the way up into now all the way up into Ohio and Pennsylvania, and even up into upstate New York. And some really warm temperatures here. Look at this, 78 degrees, near 80 in many areas. In Nashville, it's maybe a little cooler there. But you can see this is the setup for the severe weather. Look at this. And then if we look at the humidity, you'll see here the humidity is very high. So let's go ahead and look at the humidity now. And you will see, look at this, look at these dew points, well into the 60s. Might even be a couple of 70-degree dew points in here. And this, you could easily see this warm sector here, and then the colder air, much colder air behind this front. So you could see the difference here, and where these two meet is where there is a lot of severe weather going on. And this is the radar right now that we're going to look at briefly here. Should have put that in motion, I guess. But this is the severe weather right in this area here. Wait for it to load. You can clearly see. Still not loading yet. Let's look at the lightning while we're waiting. So, lightning is starting to really become an issue again. We saw this last night. Lots of lightning. It's unusual. I mean, at this point of the winter, it's a little unusual to see severe weather outbreaks. As usually you see this a little more toward March, but not in January. It's unusual, to say the least. So that's the lightning. Let's see. We should have the radar now. All right. So here we go. Look at these storms. And they're really just going. This is a line, and this line may make it to our area. We're going to have to keep an eye on this. I'm going to have to to probably do another weather update later tonight about this, because this is quite a significant line of severe thunderstorms here. And if you look at the weather and hazards map, you can see here that we have tornado watches, severe thunderstorm watches, and even a tornado warning. This, like I said, very active severe weather here. And then over here in the colder area, you see the winter storm warnings. And you see all this light brown. Those are all the wind advisories that are in effect. Let's put in the observations here, so we can look at some observations. Look at the dew points, and you'll see again how just disgusting it is across the area. You can see this warm air. It's just unbelievable. But fortunately for Long Island, you see we're in the 50s. We're not getting the worst of it like they are in the city and New Jersey. And yeah, it looks like some areas, maybe more into northern New Jersey, got close to 70 degrees today. And again, this is quite well above normal, and some records probably broken, though. Looks like Long Island, we may have avoided the record today because of the sea breeze that helped us out. That's why you want to live on Long Island and not in New Jersey, where it's hot, or even in the city. It's hotter in the city too, So unless you like it hotter, I don't. So let's go and look at the power outage effect from these storms. And you can see lots of power outages, very hard hit areas here. In fact, let me update this. I don't know if it automatically updates or I have to refresh this. Oh yeah, it updated again. So look at this. Alabama is really getting hammered right now. Over 100,000 people without power right now from this line here. And you can see, look at this. So yeah, some of these areas are completely out. So these areas have really gotten hammered with this line of severe weather coming through. High winds, lightning, torrential rains, and possible tornadoes. Look at Mississippi. Mississippi also has a lot of power outages, 47,569. So you get the idea of how much damage these storms are causing. And they are causing a lot of damage. So let's go look at the models briefly. We're just going to talk about the storm that is affecting us for this weekend, and we'll get to next week after we get done with this storm. So you can see here it doesn't really rain until later tonight and into tomorrow morning, Sunday morning. This is when this front comes through and brings us the chance of maybe even seeing some thunderstorms here. So that is general. Let's go and get a closer look at what's going to be happening. So we're going to first look at the temperatures, because these temperatures are ridiculous. All right. So let's go ahead and look at this. So tomorrow actually might wind up being warmer than today, and I'll show you why. So you see that tonight temperatures stay warm. The temperatures don't cool off at night. In fact, they might start rising. And by the morning tomorrow, it could be near 70 in New Jersey, and we have more of a southwesterly flow. And this is that front that's going to be coming through. And it could, like I said, some very warm weather warm air could be preceding that. Then it cools off. And the other thing that we, of course, keep an eye on are the dew points, which are going to be up there as well. So when we look at the dew points, you will see that it's just very muggy air. And look at those isobars. That's a very strong low-level jet. The same low-level jet that's causing the severe weather in the South and the Midwest is the same thing. Look at some of these wind gusts. So we're gonna have some strong winds too with this front, probably mostly ahead of it, that could cause some damage. And coastal flooding. I believe we have a full moon, or close to a full moon. Let's look at the NAM model. Which is somewhat higher resolution, so you can get a better idea of these dew points coming in. And it really shows the humidity and the warmth that comes through. So the front is going to come through. Looks like it's slowing it down now to late morning, and then it comes through with improving conditions. But very warm conditions across our area. Very warm. The NAM kind of shows it up a little better. You can clearly see that. So let's go look at the front itself and see what the NAM has for us as it moves through. Now I might have to use the higher resolution. It doesn't really look all that impressive on the NAM. However, if I change it to the higher resolution, it might look a little more. Yeah, that's why you got to use the higher. I only have out, so this is the 18Z, so I'm gonna have to look at the 12Z. Here is that line of thunderstorms here. So see if it holds together. It looks like it kind of wants to break it up. It might be the marine influence that you know, especially for Long Island, that might break this front up, and we may not see too much out of it. But we're gonna have to see what happens here. And I gotta keep my eye on this, obviously, because this is quite a strong line of thunderstorms that's been going for a long time, and it's not exactly gonna break up right away, you know, when it hits. So again, we got to keep our eye on this, and that's, like I said, this is the NAM. So let me look at a couple of the other models. HRRRs might take us far enough out. Let's see if it does. Let's see if that takes us far enough out. It kind of holds a couple of cells together there, but then kind of, I'm gonna have to keep my eye on it. The possibility is there for thunderstorms for sure. It's definitely there. The RGM as well. That's too general. You need a higher resolution model. Let's look at the HDRPS. Yeah, it doesn't look all that impressive, the models, but you know, I don't know. We'll see. It's the potential is there. I think that we could see a thunderstorm. No, not nothing. Probably nothing severe, but we could definitely see a thunderstorm. The bigger concern, when we go back to the NAM, is the wind speeds. So let's go and look at that, because we're going to be having some high winds. And we're already seeing high winds. In fact, the winds are higher than what was already predicted by the models. So you can see, look at these winds ahead of this front. We're going to have sustained winds in the 30s. And just offshore, we're going to have sustained winds of 40s. And this is just the sustained winds. So we're going to have some strong winds. And that'll take us to the windy.com model, which we're going to look at next. So let's look at this. We're going to go ahead and look at winds. We're just going to go to wind gusts already, right? We'll look at sustained wind first, all right? So, yeah, see, this is underdoing. The sustained winds are already higher than this. All right, so it's already underdoing it. Let's go to 10 p.m. because I think the winds pick up a little more. 2 a.m. Here we go. 2 a.m. we have winds sustained now 27 miles an hour. So it's going to be very windy, very stormy tonight. And here is 7 a.m. Has some really high wind. Looks like it brings the front in a little quick. It's 29, southwest 29. And it brings it through around that. So that worst looks like the worst time frame is going to be late tonight into tomorrow morning with these winds. But let's go to wind gusts now, all right? Because this is a little more realistic as far as what the highest winds you're going to see. This is 11 p.m. here, and we have wind gusts 30. So we're already seeing that. So it's probably going to be more like wind gusts to 40, into the 40s probably, all right? And then let's go to 2 a.m. Now winds gusting up to 50 possible. Yep, 52 mile an hour wind gusts, very possible. 7 a.m. Look at this, is downright scary. Winds gusting into the 60s. We may have wind gusts to near hurricane force. So this is a wind advisory may not be enough. I think maybe a high wind warning might be more appropriate with these winds. So there could be some scattered power outages, you know, and problems from these winds, and of course flooding. I'm going to also go to look at the waves too. Let's go to that too. Let's look at the waves and see what we got out here with these winds. Oh yeah, 12 footers. So there's going to be some coastal flooding too. So expect a stormy night, especially in the morning. Anytime after between 11 p.m. and 11 a.m. Probably the worst of it as far as the winds go. And we're going to have to watch this line of severe thunderstorms as well, see if it holds together by the time it gets here. But that's going to conclude this weather update. Take care.